Grand Rising, dear family. Wagwan to every melanated man, woman, and child alive. I'm God's first lieutenant. I have a message I need to get to you by any more means necessary. This video is going to be titled The Final Battle in Spirit, Part 8 of. Still don't have a number yet. I get a sense that it's going to be a 9-part series, but I have one more short with a few more definitions that I want to do to really close out this here series and end it and move on to something else. So, one important note that I have left out in the entire time I've been talking about this series is the exact oppressive nature we're going up against. The exact oppressive nature we are going up against can be labeled and described as toxic femininity. That's what we're up against. Toxic femininity. So once we come to our finite reawakening, meaning we have full knowledge and awareness of who and or what the cosmic Yahushua truly is, or the cosmic Yeshua truly is, then we come to the reincarnation, the acceptance of his nature, the acceptance of the King of all Kings nature, which is the force of love nature. Then it's the resurrection, the application of the force of love, of this force of love, the application of this force of love. Remember, everything in the world currently, especially toxic femininity, virtually all things feminine, unfortunately, all things feminine right now, unfortunately, are pretty much full of hatred and bad for us all, unfortunately. You can believe whatever you want, though. I'm just looking at the absolute reality. Everything feminine is bad for us, especially men. So are you saying that women shouldn't be feminine? Yes. You want to know what women should be instead of feminine? Soul-driven. You want to know what men should be instead of masculine? Soul-driven. Femininity is bad in every way possible. So is masculinity. It all is, regardless of how you see it. But at any rate, toxic femininity is the core of what we're dealing with here. The evil, most corrupt version of femininity is the absolute core of what we are dealing with here. And as I said, the resurrection of the Christ Father's force of love nature, the resurrection of this, and as well as reincarnation, or after the resurrection, the reestablishment. I've been saying resettlement before. It's resettlement, I said renewal. So this time I'm going to say the reestablishment. The reestablishment of God Christ's kingdom worldwide. That's what I'm going to say. Reestablished mentality. Some more details of this. So I've been dropping the 9-dimensional base parable to label and describe this entire series here. Like I said, it might be a 9-part series. So this might be this video right here, and then one more video labeling and describing some specific details of the final battle in spirit. Because the final battle in spirit, we're going to have to come up against the toxic femininity nature of jealousy. The toxic feminine jealousy nature. That's what we're going to have to come up against finally. That's the last battle there. But we're going to have no other option but to draw the sword to completely slay the dragon, if the sword gets in my possession, which it will. The sword will get in my possession by any moral means necessary. Not me personally, the I. This is not my idea, remember that. This is the I's idea. This is my actual me's idea. My actual me's idea. So that means the actual you too, because all of our actual me's are essentially the same. All of them are. So check it. My actual me. Once we gain reawareness of who our actual selves are, the force of love nature, or the balanced nature, balanced love. Once again, I said it before. Reincarnation to the balanced love. Resurrection of the balanced love, aka application. And finally, reestablishment of balanced love. The reestablished mentality of balanced love. Reestablish mentality of balanced love. Before I go on, what do I mean by balanced love? An upright and steady disposition to do good. That's what I mean by balanced love. Balanced ethnics, loving ethics. Real fast. Now I'm about to move on. I'm gonna name off the 9-dimensional base parable real fast. So the first 4 things, of course: moral perfection, the positive force of human behavior, awareness of it; balanced force of human behavior, awareness of that; negative force of human behavior, awareness of this; and the quiescent force of human behavior, awareness of that as well. Fifth thing. The fifth thing is the oppressive nature of jealousy, the very toxic, feminine, oppressive nature of jealousy, and the ultimate enemy of the world today. The toxic feminine jealous nature is the ultimate enemy of the world today. Honestly, there aren't too many enemies after this here. Honestly, after the toxic jealous feminine nature, there aren't too many enemies we have after the fact. So once we get rid of the fifth thing, it'll just be people dealing with people truly. There won't be anything outside of us dictating how we should govern ourselves in this here fight. The sixth thing, what the oppressive feminine nature is using: a sword. Virtually every white man, woman, and child alive on this planet. I would just consider them all, because as Muhammad Ali said, there's about 10 snakes in there that are going to bite me no matter what I do, but then there's one snake that pretends like it doesn't want to bite me. But they're all still snakes that want to bite, with poisonous venomous fangs coursing throughout their very makeup. And one slip up and or one allotment of biting from said snake ruins everything for me, ruins everything for everyone. Next, the sixth thing is the sword. Every white man, woman, and child alive. The seventh thing, Christ's physical body, or a piece of Christ's physical body within Christ's physical universe. Every melanated man, woman, and child on this planet. Originally melanated people, meaning with visible soul skin. Visible soul skin, as I have. Some people only have a pinch of visible soul skin. Some people have an original, magnificently beautiful amount of original soul skin. Fully melanated woman. All of those, all 7 billion of you on this planet, plus or less, no one knows the full number, because the oppressive body is taking our kind away from us all day, every day. Not to mention the sellout people, the sellout melanated sellouts that come from this group here and are being used as the sword's handle, so to speak. Every melanated sellout is being used as the oppressive body's handle to keep the Christ body pinned down globally right now, currently. And from what I've seen, or from what I've calculated logically, hearing off what you all said, is about it being 9 billion people on this planet. I've been hearing 8 billion, now I hear 9 billion. If it's 9 billion people on this planet, then that means there are 7 billion major people, in which the next part is going to be really nice to talk about. And there are 2 billion people outside of the 7 major billion melanated people. There are 7 billion major people that I care for the most, more than anything, and there are 2 billion people that need to just get out of the way. Sheathing the sword is getting them out of the way, or getting it out of the way. Next, the 8th part of the story. Enter the King of all kings once again. Why do I say once again? Because those first 4 parts of the story, those natures all in one, are all the aspects and or the abilities of the King of Kings itself, meaning the positive nature combined with the subtle negative nature, BKA the Force, then the balanced nature, as well as the quiescent nature, or when you remove the devil's sword, which is the 9 principalities thereof, in which she attacks us to and throughout the white people with, if that makes sense to you. If you eliminate the 9 principalities, it's just a space that can be whatever you wish it to become, which is what the 4th thing is. And then if you go a step deeper and combine it with all the things I've been learning about, like the Tan mantras and the 5 pranas and things of that nature, and all the things thereof, and which is of a constituent to the information provided to we that labels and describes who and or what we are truly. I consider the 4 fundamental forces of nature as an aspect, or as wind. The 4 fundamental forces of nature. Back to it. What are they? First one being the gravitational force. Second one being the electromagnetic force. Third one being the strong nuclear force. And the 4th one being the weak nuclear force. According to the information that I've also just studied once again, it is the strong nuclear force in which preserves and or holds the reality of the weak nuclear force together. Didn't create it. It just holds it together. The strong nuclear force didn't create the reality. It just holds it together, according to what I just recently studied. I'm going to look deeper into it to see more information and see how this actually can compare and contrast to my actual overall story here. Just makes more sense. But at any rate, those 4 fundamental forces of nature all combine to become one entity, according to how I'm studying it. Or you can say 3 or 2. Because if you say just 2, those 4 fundamental forces of nature all combine to become the Father and then the Son. And if you say 3, those 4 fundamental forces of nature all combine to become the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. But then if you want to just say 1, which is how I consider it, according to the logic, those 4 fundamental forces of nature all became just the Father and the Son in one being, or in one universe. You follow what I'm saying? And now the 8th part of the story, entering the King of all Kings, the reawakening to him in those 4 fundamental forces of nature and all of the things in which the true King of Kings is to us all. The reawakening to him, the reawareness of it, the reawareness of what the King of all Kings truly is. What is the reawareness going to consist of in real life? Well, as I said, right now, currently, the 5th part of the story, the toxic feminine jealousy of the world, and the source of all evil in which it is. Right now, it is using every white man, woman, and child on this planet, and in the reality that we are all in currently, to pin down Christ's physical body, the melanated people of the world, with 9 negative principalities, which are ignorance, gluttony, or no, not gluttony first. It's greed, lust, gluttony. I have it set up as greed, lust, gluttony for a reason. The first 4, ignorance, greed, lust, and gluttony. I almost said greed, gluttony, and lust again. No, it's not GGL, it's GLG. Ignorance, greed, lust, and gluttony. Those are the first 4. And then the next 5, pride, wrath, sloth, envy, and fear. Those are the 9 negative, evil principalities in which a reawakening to Christ's consciousness, a spiritual reawakening to Christ's consciousness, because that's what the spiritual reawakening is, a reawakening and or a reawareness of what Christ's consciousness actually is for us all. Just that one first step right there. What is it going to ultimately do? In a parable sense, it is going to allow me to summon the Christ Father within the spirit and boot the devil 47,000 yards away from my body. Plus, just a parable. Is it really going to happen? No, nothing's really going to happen. You're just going to realize who you all actually are. And the devil will no longer be able to tell you who you should be. Simple as that. Moving forward. So, boot the devil 47 centillion miles away. And then, afterwards, it's still the reawakening. Pull the sword out of my body. And that's the end of the reawakening right there, in a parable. Because once the Christ Father is summoned in the spirit and the peace power takes place, that's going to end all of the violence and or all of the influences to drive you into being evil like the sins only can do, because sins only can influence you into doing a horrific action. Once the reawakening occurs and the sword is fully pulled out, no more sinful nature will have any ability to seep into thy mind heart spaces at all. Just the reawakening alone will give you that power. It'll give you that ability to resist. Next, the reincarnation. First step in the reincarnation, sheathing the sword that I just snatched out of my Christ body, out of my physical Christ body, meaning every melanated man, woman, and child on this planet. In other words, the reincarnation gets the white people out of our way. Completely. Yeah, the spiritual reawakening is going to do that to a degree, but they're not completely out of our way, you see. They're still in the midst and can get back in the way if they feel like it, which is what they're going to do, unless we get them completely out of the way and overwhelmingly out of the way in the process. So, sheathe all of the white people of the world into the Christ Father's cosmic sheath. Now we have control over the sword. In other words, these people are now fused with the Christ Father. Why do I mention them first as well? Because they're cheating to get there first. Remember, yeah, sure, a melanated man has figured out the absolute overall answer before everyone has, but let's not forget, all of the damages that I have unto me, and which is preventing me from getting to you before they can, I have them because of them, or because of their games. Am I blaming people for it, or pointing fingers, or being sad guy, or whatever you? No. I'm just stating why things are the way they are. This message should have reached you last year when I first started posting on TikTok. But due to their jealousies and being the ones that just want to be known, to be the first ones to have it all known, restrictions, videos getting removed, deleted. My TikTok page actually got banned too. Don't even want to try to make a new one. Just start here. Many other things as well they used to deflect. Reawakening, snatch the sword out. Reincarnation, sheathe the sword. And then spiritually uplift every melanated man, woman, and child on this planet by any moral means necessary and fuse with them. Because that's what the reincarnation is, a fusion with the Christ Father in spirit. That's what your reincarnation will be, a fusion with the Christ Father in spirit, BKA accepting the nature in which the Christ Father truly is for us all. That's what your reincarnation is going to be. An acceptance of the truth, an acceptance of the soul's truth, an acceptance of the King of Kings, Heart of Hearts, Body of Bodies truth. Acceptance of this. That's all it is. The reincarnation involves me fusing with all humanity. The reincarnation involves me, my actual me, fusing with all of humanity. So that means I'll be fusing with the 7 billion major melanated people and the 2 billion white folks globally, in which sit outside the 7 major billion. Moving forward. Next, the resurrection comes into play now. Once I have successfully fused with all of humanity, it's time to apply our power now. We're moving on into the 9th part. The resurrection is the ninth part. It is the entrance into the ninth part. When we come back to our physical senses. We are now coming back to our physical senses. And we are now within our 9-dimensional base form. What are our 9 divine senses? First, the Earth Star Chakra's mental faculty sense, which is, you can label and describe it as a sense of environment. A sense of environment. Is your environment conducive to your success, or is it a detriment to it? What type of environment are you set up in? Are you set up in a proper spiritual environment, or are you set up in a devil's force environment? Toxic environment? What does your environmental sense look like? What is your foundational sense? Because that's what I mean by environment. What is your foundational sense? What does your moral sense look like? Because that's also what morals are, foundations. That's what the Earth Star Chakra is. The Earth Star Chakra holds your foundational sense, or your disposition sense, or your ground sense, or your planetary sense. The grounds you walk upon. And all I am honestly trying to do is create a world where my son can walk upon in peace. The next mental faculty sense, the root chakra's mental faculty sense of smell. Then the next one, the sacral chakra's mental faculty sense of taste. And then the solar plexus mental faculty sense of sight. Real quick, I made up something called a chakra Trimurti parable. And the 4 chakras that I just mentioned are the lowest angel, the earth angel, or the planet angel itself, because the planet in my opinion is an angel. I don't see angels as you all have angels depicted. I see angels as literal, celestial, cosmic, divine traits. And according to the information that I've studied, the planet that we are on is also a life form, BKA an angel, because an angel is a spiritual being. Life form. A being is a form. Spirit is life. The planet has life inside of it, and a form over it in which protects the life, the planet. And the mental faculty sense of the solar plexus chakra is sight. Check out this chakra Trimurti parable. So, I believe that the soul star chakra and the crown chakra and the earth star chakra are the conscious mind, subconscious mind, and physical body of the true Most High God of the universe itself. Then I believe that the third eye chakra, the throat chakra, and the heart chakra are the conscious mind, subconscious mind, and metaphysical body of the King of all kings himself. And lastly, this here solar plexus chakra with the mental faculty of sight, this here sacral chakra with the mental faculty of taste, and the root chakra with the mental faculty of smell is our conscious mind, subconscious mind, and physical body. This is what I personally believe. So my chakra Trimurti parable. Just wanted to say it real fast. Connect the dots. Conscious, solar plexus, subconscious, sacral, physical, root chakra. And reconnect the dots with all the rest of them. Moving forward. So, the mental faculty sense for the heart chakra is touch, feeling. Know this. You only got one feeling, and it's one that is good all the time. Everything else you feel is just an external experience. The light's experience within you, experiencing the world. Anti-sense sequence. Think about what an anti-sense could mean. Anti-sense. Something that is against natural senses. You want to know what's against something natural, something artificial. Am I saying that if you touch something natural, you won't feel it? You will. But it'll feel a bit different than something artificial. Complementary to an anti-sense sequence. What do your senses come from? You, internally. And anything outside of you will be anti-you. Currently it would be. If this makes sense to you. Complementary to an... What am I getting at? The definition of sense in genetics. A sequence of nucleotides complementary to an anti-sense sequence. A sequence of nucleotides complementary to an antisense sequence. Look up what a nucleotide is. It goes all the way down to the DNA or deoxyribonucleic acid and all of those things there. It gets deep, but it's really simple. It's a simplistic deep. It's not even really deep. It's all everywhere. It's just everywhere. On the surface, below the surface, way above the surface. It's all over the place. But it's still simple to comprehend because it's only one thing to comprehend: who and or what you are truly and entirely. Take your time and do the research the way you need to do it. You got all eternity, especially now. Next. So, the heart chakra's touch. You're feeling naturally, your self-sustaining feeling that you have naturally without anything else outside of you giving you something to touch on, or like no false world being at play here, forcing you to touch on it. It's always good and good all the time. Your sensory factor touch is. Therefore, anything else outside of the good feeling you feel naturally is fake, artificial, and made up. Let's not forget, your feeling is a self-sustaining feeling. Your natural DNA, your DNA is self-sustaining. So that means it provides you good and funds you good and funds good to your mental at all times. And all times it funds good energy to your mental. Nothing else. Which is why sins and all things negative outside of we, in which drive us to be different and or anti of what we are and or anti of what our senses are, is false and artificial, fake and a lie, made up. Touch is the mental faculty sense of the heart chakra. Next, the throat chakra, the mental faculty sense of hearing. Next, the third eye chakra. Now, this is another one of the senses out of the, I believe it's 9 senses in total. We were always taught about 5 our entire lives. Well, I found out that we have 4 more. The first one was that sense of environment, or the foundational sense. What type of foundational sense do you have? Do you have a good foundational sense or a bad foundational sense? And the second one of the 4 is ego, the sixth sense. We told about the sixth sense, but the sixth sense doesn't have a name or doesn't have any kind of titles in which labels and describes what kind of sense it is. It just says the sixth sense. Now on my list right here, of course, I'm actually landing on the 7th sense right now, because don't forget, I have 9 senses that I'm counting, starting from the Earth Star chakra, and right now I'm on the third eye chakra, and the third eye chakra's mental faculty sense is the 6th sense originally, but due to the listing, it's going to be the 7th sense. And what is the actual 7th sense on this list, and or the 6th sense? Normally, what you would label and describe as the ego. This is the 6th sense. Ego is the 6th sense. Natural ego, not your false, inflated, whatever you all bash the word ego with and don't even know what it is. Not your false, artificial, made-up egos. Your real, natural, God-given, endowed egos. That's what I am referring to when I talk about ego. What is the word ego literally defined as? Multiple definitions. I'll give you both of them. A person's sense of self-esteem or a sense of self-importance. Sense of self-esteem or a sense of self-importance. Who is self? Self is the spirit soul. Therefore, it is the ego. First definition defines as a person's sense of spirit soul esteem and or person's sense of spirit soul importance. And spirit soul is the character, mental and moral qualities. Spirit, mental, moral, soul. You see. The next definition of ego, part of the mind that mediates, and the word mediates simply means form a connection between. Therefore, it's the part of the mind that forms a connection between the conscious and the unconscious. Or it's the part of the mind that forms a connection between the conscious mind, which is the king of all kings mind, and the unconscious mind, which is our physical bodies, and is responsible for reality testing and a sense of personal identity. A sense of personal identity. That's a definition of the ego right there. Then there's another definition of the ego. It's called a conscious thinking subject. Subject. Look at that word subject again. Subservient. An energy that serves you, your abilities to do you. A conscious thinking subject in psychoanalysis. That's what the word ego defines as, the sixth sense, or the seventh sense on this list here. And that's the third eye chakra's mental faculty sense, the ego. What forms a connection between the conscious and the unconscious mind. Next, the crown chakra. What is his mental faculty sense? Now, on a lot of information, or when you go and study a lot of information regarding the chakras, you'll find that the crown chakra doesn't have a sense or mental faculty sense listed. But then I dug further and dug deeper, and I found out that yes, it does. It's called the Swadhisthana chakra, and that's the mental faculty sense of the crown chakra. The Swadhisthana chakra. What does it mean, or what is it? In Sanskrit, it means the disc of auspicious vision, meaning a vision in which bounds you to success. And this vision here, what does it mean for you in more detail? It is a sense of expectation. Your abilities to have an expectation sense. You follow what I'm saying? So, like, for example, if you decide to command that your day is going to be well, have a sense of expectation that your day is going to be well. I am going to have a good day, whether anyone out here doesn't want me to have a good day or not. I decide that today is going to be good. I demand today to be good, and I expect today to be good. I expect to live a good day. I expect to have a good day. I don't really have any other option but to live with expectations because that's just the way my nature is hooked up. Next, the soul star chakra, and the final chakra on this list. What's the soul star chakra's mental faculty sense? The soul star chakra's mental faculty sense is the sense of all senses, or the life force sense, the force of love sense, the life force of love sense, the God sense, the quantum sense. Quantum sense, you can say that. The mental faculty of the soul star chakra is either you can call it quantum, or you can call it the life force sense, or you can call it the force of love sense. Either way it goes, what labels and describes how our nucleic acid, as well as the other four organic compounds, or everything that stems from the quantum vacuum that gives us our abilities to be here, that's your sense there. That's your mental faculty sense. The gift from the Father of the Heavenly Lights. And those are your 9 base senses right there. They all come from the King of Kings. 9 base senses. You won't be able to find too much of this information out there in the world. But once you take a deeper look into what I'm saying, you'll be able to find it all lickety-split. And these here 9 senses, these are going to trump the devil's artificial 9 negative principalities, which are the 9 deadly sins. But first we have to tap into all 9 chakra systems, the 9 chakra system hierarchy. Become aware of the 9 chakra system hierarchy because it is the power of the King of all Kings. Reincarnate with the 9 chakra system hierarchy, as it is the heart of hearts of the King of all Kings. The acceptance of the King of all Kings' heart of hearts and the way it is. The acceptance of this way. Resurrect, which is the part that we're on right now in the crown chakra, or the 9-dimensional thinking mind aspect, before we move on to other things. Resurrect to this here 9-dimensional, these 9 divine senses. Resurrect to them, meaning come back to them, because they have always been here doing whatever they can to be seen and or heard by you, or felt by you. The King of Kings has been trying to resurrect through you all for a long time. Why is it taking so long? Because the devil is really, really evil at ensuring you all don't recognize or see anything at all. Devil is really good at convincing you it is God, right? Well, according to what I've studied, you don't have to buy this. The only God there is Yeshua, and all the things that in which Yeshua is a constituent of, meaning the entire universe itself, cosmic Christ. You follow what I'm saying? Come back to your nine divine senses. Come back to your 9 divine senses. Come back to your 9 divine base senses. Come back to your 9 divine fundamental senses. Do some research to see if we actually got 9 divine fundamental senses. You don't have to take my word for it. But once you come back to the 9 divine senses, everything in which the devil is stands no chance against you ever again, or will stand no chance against you ever again. The devil's feminine nature will not be able to beat you once we reach full power. Resurrection. Now we are in our 9 divine base sense state, this parable here. What's next? The devil comes back, as it always does. Why? To entrench the 9 negative principalities into our mind heart spaces once again. Jealousy just keeps attacking. Why? Because you got something it ain't got, your life. So it's jealous of you for having life. So it destroys you because you have it. No reason. You just got it. And it's covetous of you. Nine-dimensional thinking mind, 9-dimensional base fundamental senses. We get here, sword Shi, fully fused with the melanated people. Devil comes back. Now it's time for the final fight. Who is going to reestablish their mentality on the grounds and or the space we are battling within? I get a sense that the King of all kings is going to demolish the devil in every way possible if this conviction can consume you all in time. Yeah, Professor Lumumba, my good brother, this is what I meant when I said I wish to consume you all. You and everybody else in Africa. All of the people within Africa. I wish to consume you with this conviction. My conviction is for peace, love, unity, and advancement. My conviction is simply God will have his world, God will have his people moving, God's speed forever, souls be one belief and one foundation. The enemy's conviction is war, hatred, division, and stagnance. The enemy's conviction is force you all to fail at everything and force you all to suffer to death. Which one would you rather get consumed by? One that only wants you to live for thine own well-being and stand upright and steady and in a disposition to do good, or one that will consume you in a conviction to see you do the opposite of these things in every way possible? I think by a rhetorical response, I know exactly which one you're going to choose, minds. I look forward to seeing you again. But right now, currently, the devil has you tied up into its conviction, which is so hard to pull you, which is why it's so hard to pull you away. Doesn't mean I'm giving up. It just means I'm going to have to pull out some more tactics. For example, explaining the next step of the story and how we will overwhelmingly overpower this feminine, demonic, jealous devil so that our non-masculine or non-feminine energy can reestablish upon the grounds thereof. What do I mean by reestablish? Reestablishing the balanced love mentality. Reestablishment of balanced love. That's what I mean. God's kingdom worldwide is balanced love worldwide. And so, once we come to this point here of the final battle with this demon thing in us, the King of all kings as a whole, the Christ body resurrected, in other words. Resurrect Christ body. That's ultimately what I'm driving home. Resurrect the Christ body pronto. The Christ body in reality has a 9-dimensional or 9 divine base fundamentality senses. The Christ body in real life has 9 divine base senses. Fundamental. Resurrect the Christ body by any moral means necessary so the Christ body can defeat the devil. Resurrect the Christ body by any moral means necessary so that the Christ body can defeat the devil. I said all those extra details just to say this one line right here. Resurrect the force of the Christ body so we can defeat the force of the devil's body. And then we also have a really, really unique transformation. Once we all come to our 9 divine-based fundamental senses, we can go infinite omnipresent mind, thinking mind, which is a tap into the soul star chakra, beyond the crown chakra's 9-dimensional thinking mind state, into the soul star chakra's infinite dimensional thinking mind state. You see, meaning whatever the devil tries to do, whatever the devil even makes a move, we will be able to see it and stop it from doing so, to the point where we might as well just keep the devil imprisoned for all of eternity. We can win. In the infinite omnipresent thinking mind is where we can unsheathe the sword and slice the devil into 1,000 pieces and beyond. According to the stories, it's immortal, so it's going to regenerate. Like it says in the story of Revelation, how the devil took the group of people, or the group of angels, or the group of whatever, got struck with a blow so severe, but it came back together. But it got struck with something as if it seemed it should have died. You follow what I'm saying? But it just regenerated, came back together. It can heal itself. What story in Revelation am I talking about? I get a sense that it was Revelation 12 after 1 through 17. I believe it was, or was it 13? I have to look at it again. But I know the stories in Revelation where it talks about beings recovering from wounds. Beings recovering from wounds. A story in Revelation talking about beings recovering from wounds. Go look it up and see if you can find it for yourself. But this is where I get the idea of how the devil is physically immortal in our reality. This is where I get this idea from. The story of Revelation and how it talks about it. But this is all I have for you in this video right here. It's the final battle in spirit, part 8 of... Don't have an ending number yet. But it's just essentially the King of Kings nature, the King of Kings heart of hearts force of nature, versus the devil's toxic feminine jealous nature. Believe whatever you want, though. As soon as I get my sword, the way I need to get my sword, the only thing you're all going to believe in is the soul's truth. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Matthew 22:39. Defend your neighbor as you defend yourself, at least those who are worthy. Be lifted in Christ's spirit. Be lifted in the Most High God's spirit. Be lifted and walk good forever. Peace, love, unity, and advancement to you all, my family.